What's going on, football fans? It's Jordan with the Bet Locker. Finally back for another DFS preview show. We're going to go over Thursday night game for the Showdown captain mode, and we're going to do a little preview for Sunday and give you a little sneak peek at our DFS cheat sheet. So before we do that, though, I just wanted to make two announcements, new features at thebetlocker.com. So first one, when you do become a member, you do get invited to our Discord channel. So that is just a very popular, I think, very awesome feature that just imagine like brains, all of us coming together as a community Saturday morning, Sunday morning, talking about bets that we're taking, talking about weather edges, injury news, swap this guy, whatever. So that is a feature that does come with your membership. And also, we just unveiled our daily consensus picks. So we heard all of you guys that you want daily picks, which I completely agree with. So we, as a group of sharps here at the Bet Locker, we come together and we give our consensus picks for the day. So in that way, you guys can have daily action. So two new features, very excited for it. But yeah, let's dive into the DFS show. Okay, guys, let's dive in. Welcome back, finally back for NFL DFS. Nothing more addicting, I promise you that. Sunday morning, red zone's on. You got DraftKings action. You're watching those stupid little dials move in and out of the cash. Every touchdown you're checking. Oh my gosh, did I draft that guy? There's nothing more addicting. Cashing for $1 million and then you end up min cashing at the end of the day for 10 instead. I promise you, there's nothing more addicting. But I know there's a lot of new viewers, or a lot of my members are new to DraftKings. So I'll use some lingo that is familiar to people that have been playing it for years and try and explain to other people that are new to it kind of what's going on here. So here's, obviously the site, sign up. I'm sure you get a lot of welcome bonuses and whatnot. And tonight is different from Sunday. So tonight is just what's called a Showdown captain mode. So you're picking a captain and then you're choosing 5 flex spots while staying under the salary. There's a lot of ties, there's not a lot of variance, but there can be some edges that you can get on the field. Not like Sundays though. I rarely play Showdown captain modes. I find them so hard. Playing religiously for the last 6 years now. I put in some lineups just to have action, but beyond that point, not really. I like Sundays slates, so then that way you can get edges on ownerships, edges on stackings, everything like that. You can't really get crazy edges on showdowns, but they're still fun. So let me show you what it kind of looks like. So here's the big one for $15, $1 million for first. Another thing, if you want to play long term, these are fun. These payouts are crazy high, obviously. Want to entice people to get in. A lot of soft money this week. Those welcome bonuses. NFL's finally back. Just the casual bettors are going to be at the sports books. Line makers know that. And they're going to be on DraftKings. And these guys know that too. So they make those top prizes huge. And then the payouts beyond that are not very good. So if you're playing long term or want to build a bankroll, you want to look at the payouts, maybe 10 to 15% to first, and so on. So in that way, if you min cash or if you middle of the field cash, you're making some good money still versus, you have to finish in the top, let's say realistically, top 30 to make a way worth it score. Hundreds is great, but if you're making 1,000, that's huge. But you're doing it against 176,000 entries. And a lot of that, some guys there's a lot of guys maxing that out for 150 entries. So they have every variance that you can think of. And if you're only doing 2 lineups and someone else is doing 150, you're behind them already. So you have to get major lucky, which it happens. I've done it in golf. I've seen it happen in football, seen it happen in baseball, basketball. I've seen it happen in every sport, but it's pretty rare long term. So anyways, let's show you what this Showdown captain mode looks like. So yeah, just like I said, so you're choosing a captain, so they get 1.5 points for everything they do. So like if Barkley, if he scores a touchdown, rushing touchdown, that's 6 points. Cut that in half though, that's an extra 3. So he just got 9 points if he's in the captain spot. Jalen Hurts, same thing. If he throws for a touchdown, I'm pretty sure it's 4 points if you throw. Cut that in half. It's 2. So then you add those two together. He gets 6 points for every touchdown he throws if you throw him in the captain spot. Everything else is just normal points. So a couple different theories and a couple different ways of what you can do for these. So like, let's say, game theory, the spread is -8.5. So I think the Eagles are going to crush them. And the over-under is 47.5. So they think that the Eagles are going to score in the high 20s to maybe 30, and then Cowboys are going to score in the mid-teens. Realistically, right? So, you know, everyone already is going to be going, okay, I'm going to go heavy on the Eagles. So I'm going to go Barkley at captain. I'm going to go, you could try and go AJ Brown. Um, and then you go down, maybe get Dallas Goedert to save some salary. Now you're at 5,800. Couple things though, you have to choose at least one player from the other side. So you have to choose at least one Cowboy. So I mean, if you go Barkley at captain and then choose another high guy, you realistically just box yourself out from CD Lamb, Dak Prescott, George Pickens. You just took away the best Cowboys guys you can get. Now, if you don't think they're going to do good, then doesn't matter. By all means, maybe take their kicker. Where is he at? Brandon Aubrey, right there. I mean, 4,800. Okay, now you have a Cowboy guy. Hopefully, you get some field goals. Great. So that's the strategy. I mean, you got to realistically, I've seen it to where you choose stars and scrubs. So you choose Barkley Brown, maybe you choose Devontae Smith. So then you're just going heavy on Eagles offense. And then you hope that Dallas isn't getting in the red zone and scoring touchdowns or only scoring field goals. And then you also, Eagles scoring a lot. So then you choose their kicker. Now it leaves you 6,200 for your last spot, which is not really great. I mean, you could choose Dallas's tight end. There you go. There's another edge to leaving salary on the table. That's another edge to be thinking about. If people have the salary, they are going to spend it, especially the casual bettor and the casual player that hasn't played before. It really comes into play in golf, but it comes into play for football too. Very important. I mean, see this. I mean, you have average remaining salary 1,000. People don't like seeing that, so they're going to choose someone else, get Ferguson out there. This lineup that we made, we're kind of boxed into. We don't really have players we can spend up for, but let's try game theory. So everyone's going to be taking heavy Eagles, right? So a way to get different, maybe take heavy Cowboys. So maybe you go something like Dak Prescott as captain. Pretty risky. Most of the time I do see, whoever the stud or the star is going to be, they end up being in the captain spot for football. And when it's a quarterback, it's pretty obvious. Then he's going to be throwing, especially with Dak. He's not very mobile, so he's going to be throwing a lot, right? So the first thing you have to do is you have to get Dak, and then you have to get CD Lamb and George Pickens, and maybe even go a huge stack, and you get 3, and you go Jake Ferguson. Now he has 3 weapons to throw to. He's throwing all these touchdowns to these guys. They're getting stacked points. They're getting touchdowns. They're getting yards. They're getting receptions. You get a point for every reception. So PPR. So now you're at 6,250. So, but you have to get an Eagles guy. So let's say because they're scoring a lot, obviously Dallas kicker, he's getting a lot of extra points. Maybe he's getting a couple extra field goals. He's getting guaranteed points. Throw him in there. You're at 7,700. You have to get an Eagles guy. Who are you going to get? No one. Dallas Goedert. You're right there. You're leaving salary on the table. You're going heavy Cowboys, and you're going kind of against the grain there. So you're automatically going to be different. Those are the types of things that you have to be thinking about when building these lineups to try and just be a little different from the field. I mean, you can try and make the perfect lineup and there's no salary left. I mean, let's try and do it. And then we can see, and you'll probably be with, out of 170,000, you might be, if you make the perfect lineup, you'll be tied with 150 people. I've seen it happen a billion times. You have to get a little different somewhere. My guess is you're probably looking at something like AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, Barkley. So you're going heavy Eagles, and then they're going to drop down because they need to save salary. Then they're automatically going to assume that they need to take the kicker, Jake Elliott. Perfect. And then they save more. Let's say they're, let's say you go Dotson and you go Ferguson, I guess. 900 on the table. It's going to be probably pretty tough to spend all the salary this week, and it is in captain mode. But if, like I'm saying, if you do find that perfect lineup, though, you might be tied with everyone else. So just try and think outside the box for a lot of it. Another edge you can think of is to save salary is go look at the depth charts. So go to Eagles, so here's their official depth chart going into today, and go look at their third receiver. Their third starting receiver is, I can't remember how to say his name, Jahan Dotson, probably Jahan Dotson. He's their third receiver. Now, if you go over here and look at their third receiver, he is all the way down here at 3,200. So if you go that Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson, you look how much salary you have left. Oh, well, it's because I didn't throw him in the captain spot, duh. Jalen Hurts in captain? No, let's go captain. Okay, what the heck's going on here? Why isn't he going in captain? Oh, duh, I'm in flex spot, duh. Okay, Hurts. And then you go A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson, because he's their third starting receiver. He's going to be out in the field. He might get some targets. He might get a crazy lucky touchdown. You never know. Left yourself 6,250. So let's go look at Cowboys depth chart, which is going to be, let's see here. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, right here. And we go look at Cowboys depth chart. And their third receiver is listed as Jalen Tolbert. So you go back here. Let's say you get Tolbert. Same thing. He gets some targets. He's going to be out on the field. And maybe CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens is heavily guarded. So Tolbert gets some catches. Look at that. Your last spot, 9,100. Come up here. Dak Prescott. You can get him. You can get George Pickens. I mean, you are leaving Barkley and Lamb on the table. So you could swap them out. Maybe get rid of A.J. Brown and throw in CeeDee Lamb. Then you left yourself 7,700. That's not a great spot. You could get different, get Ferguson instead, leave a lot of salary on the table, be different. So many different ways of what you can do with this. I've seen game theories go for throwing defenses. So if you do a defense, they automatically start with 10 points. If you throw them the captain, they're already starting with 15 points. Rarely do I see it come out on top. The only time I do see it, defense in the captain spot, is when they're scoring crazy touchdowns. So they're getting those defensive, they're getting their pick sixes, they're getting fumble recovery sixes, so, but it does save you a lot of salary. So, I mean, you can see it, or if you put a kicker, like if you put Aubrey in and he kicks 5 field goals and he gets 30 points in the captain spot, pretty much can get whoever you want. So, like if you throw Eagles defense in there, and then you go Barkley, Hurts, Lamb, you still have 5,000 for your last 2 spots. It's crazy. Maybe you go Aubrey, and then you have 5,300. Look at this. You can go Ferguson. So, but the key to that, though, is if you're CeeDee Lamb and you're Jake Ferguson scoring, that's going to take away from your captain spot for Eagles. So you got to be thinking about that. You got to be thinking about game theory, whatever you want. See, this one, only 100 left on the salary, and you're getting all these name players. That could be a popular lineup. So you might need to change some spots there. So that's Showdown Captain Mode, guys. A lot of different ways of what you can do. Maybe some game theories. Like I said, maybe look at the depth charts, get that third receiver, get that backup tight end, maybe take a shot on Luke Schoonmaker, and he's only 1,600 in the flex spot and 2,400 in the captain spot. maybe take a shot on him and he's your last guy in to save some salary and get all stars up top. And he gets a lucky touchdown for 7, 6 for the touchdown, 7 for the catch, couple extra for the yardage. And I've seen that happen 1,000 times too. So look at those depth charts. Maybe take those ringer guys that no one's going to have. They're going to be way low owned. I guarantee you Schoonmaker's probably going to be 5% owned because people aren't going to know to do that. So if you do something like that and you taking those chances, that can set you apart. So also, I mean, you might have heard this little theory or not theory, but you might have heard this like saying before, and it's especially happens in DFS. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that just goes across the board for every sport. I mean, if you're leaving salary on the table or if you're choosing guys that you don't want to, if you're going heavy Cowboys, whatever, and you feel so uncomfortable, like, ugh, I hate this lineup. Those sometimes are the ones that win. So make sure you get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Let's look a little bit at the Sunday Showdown before we get going here. Sorry, not Showdown, but the Sunday Classic mode. So it's the main Sunday slate. So all that it is the morning games and the afternoon games for Sunday. Those are the biggest contests on Sunday. They still have Showdown Captain mode for your Sunday night game. So that's fun. They do that for Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday nights. And then, but the fun ones, red zone's going on, the all day slates for the morning and the afternoon games on Sunday. So, I mean, look at this prize right here. $5 can win you $1 million. Same thing. Then it drops down 100. It keeps dropping down, but $5, might as well take a stab at it. And those look a lot different. So those look like this. So you are choosing, so nothing like the Showdown Captain mode. They just assign, whatever points they get is what they get. There's no 1.5, and you're assigning exactly like your fantasy team that you've been drafting all week and all the last 2 weeks for your fantasy leagues. So you're choosing a quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, a tight end, a flex spot, and a defense. So here's where your edges are going to come into play here. And if you stayed this long, thank you. I appreciate you. Like and subscribe. It does help. And if you do like it right now, I'll give you some game theory right now for Sunday. So it's called stacking. So let me give you a little. Here's our DFS cheat sheets. So I might come out with a video later today on the top sleepers in each position. But basically, I'm going to give 3 to 4 spots in every position. So 3 to 4 quarterbacks, top quarterbacks to buy, running backs to buy, and so on. Under 10% owned in GPP. So what that means is they, only 10%, they're only owned, which percentage owned is everything in daily fantasy sports, DraftKings. So, if Jamar Chase is 20% owned, but let's see, I got to get some names here. Jamar Chase is 20% owned, and Devontae Adams at 2,000 less the salary is only 5% owned, and Devontae Adams scores 2 touchdowns, and Jamar Chase only scores 1 with 5 catches, 80 yards. Devontae Adams goes same with a touchdown. Well, but he's only 5% owned versus 20% owned. You just leapfrogged a whole bunch of people and save salary to get better positions elsewhere. So that's why percentage is everything in DFS. And so that's why I'm going to give at least 2, maybe 3, just depending what I'm liking on the slates of how many guys I'm giving. And I'm going to be giving those cheat guys that are under 10% owned that could set you apart from the field. And then the last thing is the stacking. So that, I mean, I know it's widely known. If you listen to any DFS show, stacking is everything. It can be. So, but most people do it. And that's what the lineups do call for. So stacking is you take the quarterback, you take a receiver or 2, maybe you take a running back, maybe you take the tight end. You can go heavy stacking and do that. It's called quarterback +4, quarterback +3, 2. Skinny stack is quarterback +1, and so on. And then another way to do that, and what most people do, you don't have to, but you do a bring back as well. So I'll show you what this looks like here in a second. But I'm giving you your top stacks. I'm giving you your Hail Mary stacks, those ones that people aren't thinking of. Maybe a little Joe Flacco with Cedric Tillman and other guys that can set you apart that no one's going to be thinking to take. So I'm definitely honing in on this, and I think it's going to be very beneficial for everyone. And it's what's helped me be very successful on making my five figures last year and last season for NFL. So let me show you what that looks like though. So, and like I said, this all comes with your membership when you become a member at BetLocker. So, and I post these every Friday. So let me show you what this looks like though. So let's do a mock team. So let's have stacking in mind. So let's go with, I've been looking at this obviously all week. Kyler Murray stacks look really popular and really great. The most popular stacks are Trevor Lawrence stacks. I will tell you that right now, just because he saves a lot of salary and his receivers are pretty good. Brian Thomas is like right in the middle. I will tell you though, the pricing this week is very soft. Um, when you go to running back last season, Christian McCaffrey, when he wasn't hurt last season, I guess it was the season before, he was 9,000 to 10,000 every week. So, and same with a lot of these guys. Jahmyr Gibbs, the end of last season, ended up being in the 9,000 range. Devon Achane was high when he was going off. Jonathan Taylor was about 2,000 more in the 8K range. Wide receivers, Jamar Chase, when he was going off with Burrow, he was in the 9K range too. So this week, the pricing is really soft, and it's just because guys haven't been adjusted yet for their performances. So this is the week where you can pretty much get whoever you want. So let me show you like a stacking. So like I said, I've been looking at this forever this week. So like if you go Kyler Murray, and then let's stack them, and let's go with, let me just go to his thing. There we go. So obviously, if you go Kyler Murray, you're going to go, oops, there we go. You're going to go Marvin Harrison. And then you're going to go, you're obviously going to go get McBride. And then you go bring back with the Saints if you want to. And you could either go Kamara. And if you really want to stack this game script, you could go James Conner too. I really like James Conner this week. I will just throw that out there. He's probably going to be on my favorite sleepers or whatever, because he's not going to be, I think his ownership is going to go up, but it hasn't been all week. But he's probably one of my favorite running backs this week. So anyway, so there's like a example of a stack. You go quarterback, you go at least a receiver, and his other second receiver, which is tight end Trey McBride, obviously. Then you go a bring back with like Kamara or Chris Olave, whatever you want to do. I like Kamara more just because, what's his name? Rattler. I don't think he's going to be great. So, and I don't think Saints defense is going to be really great. So I think Kyler Murray stack's going to be pretty popular. So the way to get yourself apart, if you go grab a defense, let me go all games. Usually I do this. Defenses don't really matter in the winning lineups. They can if like a defense scores 5 touchdowns, whatever, those crazy defenses that score a couple touchdowns, they get up to 20 points, and then they can be in the winning lineup for sure. But most of the time they don't really matter. So I like to target rookie quarterbacks right off the bat. So honestly, you could take Arizona and go heavy stack like that. And then that leaves you 5,300. So then let's go get a couple more receivers. Brian Thomas is going to be heavily owned this week, but he looks real good. I mean, who else is he going to throw to? I'll tell you another guy who's going to be really popular, but probably worth it, is Emeka Buga. I never know how to say his name. Where is he? For the Tampa Bay. Right here. Ibuka. You put him in there because he's their secondary receiver. It's only Mike Evans and him. Chris Godwin's out this week. Look how much salary that leaves you. 5,700. Let's say you go grab someone else, right? Ricky Pearsall. He might be really popular too, but I mean, look at this. You got 6,900 for your last flex spot. You can get anyone you want. Devon Achane, Jonathan Taylor, Brian Thomas, Josh Jacobs. Let's say you go Taylor. There you go. Look at that lineup. So that's another thing. Like it's like I said, and like I was going over in the Showdown Captain mode, when people have the salary, they're going to spend it. So like when you go really light in these spots, and then your last spot is, you can go all the way up to Jamar Chase, everyone's going to go up and get him. Like that's just facts. He looks great this week, yeah. Or everyone's going to go up and get Bijan, or everyone's going to go get Christian McCaffrey. When they see the salary and they have it, they're going to go spend it. And that's okay. You can too, but you have to get different somewhere in there. So in that way, you're not duplicating yourself and you set yourself apart. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Maybe take that stab on that low owned guy on the receiver. Hopefully he gets huge yardage and a touchdown. That sets you apart. Go crazy with the other stacks like Joe Flacco stacks, whatever. And that will just set you apart from from how many people? 832,000 entries. You're going to have to get different. Otherwise, if it is the winning lineup, you'll be tied with 2,000 people and you guys are splitting the top prize. So yeah, tune in Friday. I get the DFS cheat sheet out there. Really help you guys with this, and it's really helped me really hone in on guys, and it's what I've been giving to family and friends. So now I'm making it available to everyone. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Definitely, please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. And go to thebetlocker.com, join our Discord. If you've watched this long, thank you so much. I love doing these shows. Like I said, I want to teach you guys on what's going on and help you get better throughout the season. So, yep, that's it. Let's have a profitable week. Be looking for my videos tomorrow, and we'll see you next time.